In today's video, I'm going to show you a sneak peek of how I organize all of my content ideas, how I plan my content on a calendar, how I store the ideas that you guys give me when I ask you questions in my email and you actually respond. I write those down. You'll get to see how I organize that stuff in Notion. I'll walk you through every stage, how it all works, about how long it actually takes, and why I go through this log of time for the end result and what that means to me. Maybe a little bit of a pep talk for you if you're considering adding this and you're not really sure if it's the right fit for you. I'll tell you how I feel about it, and then you can take that with whatever size grain of salt you want and make your own decision. How about that? I will also make sure to link down below to some of the tools, my wireless microphone, my wired microphone, all of the things, so that if this is something you want to try, you can take a look and start with the tools that I'm using if you want. If we haven't met before I dive in and show you the inside of my Notion account, my name is Caitlin. I run Launch the Damn Thing. I am a Squarespace educator and designer. I've been a designer since 2006. I have since become an entrepreneur, an educator, all things web design, Squarespace person, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm here showing you how I market my business essentially and create this content for you every week on the channel and on my blog. And so you can see kind of on the back side of this, what it actually takes for me to produce this content, because I do not outsource any of it at time of recording. I know, I'm just gonna let that microphone drop. All right, let's take a look at what my Notion account looks like for how I track my stuff. Then we'll dive into the rest of this situation. All right, let's take a look. But just to be on the up and up and in favor of full transparency, I have been blogging since 2016. So first I mastered that before I added YouTube to the mix in 2022. And it still takes me hours every week to get these things done without hiring contractors and stuff like that. So yes, I'm doing all the video editing myself, all the blog editing myself, scheduling all the things, doing all the thumbnails, tracking all the ideas, all of it is me. And it takes a lot of time, not gonna lie. But when I talk about it with other people, it's still taking them longer. That's not to say that that's the case for every scenario. There are obviously people who are faster at it than me, but just for comparison's sake, this is a very average amount of time. So the video editing takes a long time, and the writing of the blog post from the video takes a long time. But I'm going to go through some tips and tricks that I have for you to try to shorten that as much as humanly possible, because I do think there's a lot of value in having not only a blog post, but also a video that comes with it, because that's opening you up to two different searchable content, right? That content can pull up on Google, it can pull up in searches on YouTube, it can pull up in searches Pinterest and a bunch of other search engines, right? So that means that people are able to find my content through my website directly, through Google, through YouTube, and Pinterest if people are pinning it for me, because I don't do that myself. So anyway, that's why I go through all the trouble. All of my leads, all of my clients tend to come through Google. This is the medium in which I have chosen to focus. I love creating content. This is not a chore for me. I like it. I enjoy it. And hopefully that shows in the content that you get to watch every week. So anyway, this is what it takes to make this content for you. All right, so I'm going to give you a peek at my Notion dashboard here. I'm going to be looking at first, let's give a shout out to the maker of this template. I did not create this myself. I bought Thomas J. Frank's Ultimate Brain and Creator's Companion template pack. Cannot recommend that more highly. If you're in the newer stage of your business, it's probably going to be overwhelming for you. There are light views of it, so you can start with the smallest bit and work your way into the rest. But it's honest to God the best use of Notion I've ever seen. It is the most efficient way to use Notion so that your information is not siloed. This is what you're looking at, my content in his template in my account. And I have several views. So this is my content ideas page. It only displays the ideas, not the things that are posted. So I have it organized by the different categories that I tend to focus on my channel and in my blog. And I have the widget on my phone. So anytime I have an idea when I'm not at my desk, whether or not I'm at my desk, I can open Notion, add the idea, and put it in a category, or do that later even. I also have a calendar view, because when you do that, fun fact, you can also show your content with dates in the Notion calendar app, which is free, by the way. So if you want to be able to see when things are going live in your Google Calendar alongside your other Google events and stuff like that, this is the way that you would do that. Underneath that, you can also see that I have some audience ideas. So fun fact, if you're on my email list and I ever ask your opinion on something and people reply, this is where I track that. Anytime people ask me questions, I usually try to respond to everybody that I can. And I'm keeping a list of these for future content ideas. So what I do is I have a list of content ideas with no date assigned, and I will just grab one and drag it onto the calendar. And when I do that, even though these topics have idea for the status, Notion has an automation where you just saw it, where it will switch the status for me from idea to planned as soon as there is a date assigned. And when I drag it out of this list onto a date, that's me assigning a date. That's how I actually plan my content. I can see my schedule here. I can go from month to month, and you can see whatever my theme is. Anyway, so I'm currently planned out for the next 8 weeks. So if we open up the task in Notion, that is the content ideas, outline, all the things for this particular piece of content. So today's content. This is the outline that I write. I do not script my videos because I feel like if I did, you would be able to tell that I was reading from a teleprompter. It's taken me a lot of work and effort to get to this level of enthusiasm when I speak. So I am not about to take it down a notch because I started like Daria. For anyone who used to grow up watching Daria, that's how I used to speak. Doing this kind of thing, talking to clients, teaching through video, that's required a lot of practice for me to get to this point. So I do not script my videos. That just is not something I want to do personally. I know a lot of people who do, but it's not for me. So I write an outline. The outline is my guide. So I keep it open. When I need it, I'll glance at it, and then I will edit out the pieces where I am looking off camera. So that's what keeps me on track. I tend to try to plan my content out quite a bit, but the actual doing of the video content and the blog content tends to be on a weekly basis. So still not great at batching that, just to be perfectly honest. Would like to be a lot better. So that's the Notion piece, tracking all of it in here. And then I actually film. So this piece right here is with my camera and QuickTime and my wireless microphone, which I'll link below. And yeah, I filmed the middle part of the video first. So I'm doing the tutorial, or I'm explaining the thing, or I'm walking you through whatever the topic is first. After that's done and I'm okay with it, I don't need any more takes, then I will record the short intro and the short outro. Sometimes I'll put them in the same video and split them up later. Sometimes I'll just do the intro really quick, take a breather, because I've been doing a lot of talking, and then do the outros in a separate clip. Then I'll put them all together in my video editor. So that's how I tend to do that. 3 different pieces typically. After I do the video, I have to go ahead and take the selfies or whatever that are representative of me and the thought process, the goofy faces that I'm making or whatever it is for the video thumbnail, because I take the background out from my desk. I am not the person that's going to go find the perfect shot, leave my house and I would love to be that person, but that's just not me. So that all happens right here at my desk before I quit filming for the day. I edit that thumbnail in Canva. I remove the background in Canva. I have Adobe Creative Cloud, but it's just a lot faster and quicker to do this in Canva. So use your pro subscription to Canva to your heart's content, and don't feel bad about it because I'm doing the same damn thing. For the video editor, once I've got all the clips ready to go, I will import them into the editor, do all of the editing, and then export the file and put it into YouTube. And you're gonna ask, because everybody does, what did you start editing with? I started with Descript. Actually, I used it for 12 plus months until I got so comfortable with it and the features that I basically outgrew its editing capability, and that's exactly what I wanted to happen. I needed something to get me by until I was ready for more features, and then I upgraded to Final Cut Pro. I chose Final Cut Pro because it was a one-time fee for a lifetime access. It's like $300. It's a little on the pricey side, but then you never pay for it again. To my knowledge, you can only use it on a Mac, so sorry PC users, I wouldn't know what to tell you. But I still use Descript, so I actually do have both. I just downgraded my Descript subscription because I'll go into that later. But anyway, that feels so similar to iMovie that I've been picking that up very well. So you can actually, if you go back, God, don't do it, but also do it. Go back and look at my older videos. Even this time last year, they're a lot better now, I think, in quality, and like the edits are better, the cuts are better, the transitions are more interesting than I could do in Descript. So you just like learn as you go, basically. And they were good enough for then, but like that's not the level of quality I want now. So if you're starting out with video, Descript is the way to go, and then you can graduate to something else later on when you're ready for it. That's what I did. So I have chapter markers in Final Cut, which I can export with the handy little extension. I have that linked. I'm not an affiliate for that either, but I'll link that in the description below because it's super useful, and it was like $10 or so one time forever. All of the editing in Final Cut, the chapters in Final Cut, I export the video from Final Cut, and then I import the video into Descript and let it transcribe the video. At the same time, I'm also uploading the final video file from Final Cut Pro into YouTube, and then I start editing or optimizing the YouTube post. By the way, when I'm editing in Final Cut, I'm marking where I want to put cards for like videos I know I filmed that are related. I have an extension called vidIQ that helps me sort of optimize the page, and I'm aiming for a certain SEO score through that. So every change I make, it's like reevaluating how this is going to score, and I'm looking for a certain number, try to get it, as close to 100 as possible. So the last video, as of me recording this one, was in the 80s. Some are better than others. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm just doing what I can. And then when I get it the way that I want, I can upload the thumbnail from Canva at this point. Descript may or may not be done editing the transcript or creating the transcript from the video, and I go ahead and schedule the video. Now, what I used to do is schedule the video, go to the video page and preview it while it's still private. Grab the embed code for the video from there and go ahead and paste it into the blog post. YouTube scrapped that. You can't access, at least as of time of recording, you can't access the embed code when it's private/scheduled. You have to actually publish it, which is so super annoying. So now I have to go ahead and publish the video before the blog post is ready so that I can embed the video into the blog post and not have to like go into the blog post after the fact to embed the video after everything has published, because that would be a bad user experience, right? Like, watch the video and it's not there. Not great. So I do have to do it in stages. So now let's talk about the blog post, because at this point, the hardest thing about this whole process is the actual editing of the video. That's what takes the longest up to this point. The other piece that takes maybe equally as long is editing the transcription to read like a blog post that stands by itself. Oh my God. Between those two pieces and all the shit in between, that's what makes this process take so long. And I would say it takes a good 10 to 12 hours every week of my time to get this done. And that's probably being a little bit conservative. I'll go into the why I still do it, even though it takes that long, in a minute. Descript has transcribed the blog post for me. I can use AI in Descript to add chapters back in for the blog post, and then I can copy that whole transcription. I can also use Descript to get rid of like filler words, the you knows, the extra so's. I tend to say so all the time, and then when I copy it, I paste it back into Notion. So I come back in here where I had the outline before, and I'll paste in the whole transcription from Descript. On average, it's going to be between 4,000 and 6,000 characters, or 4,000 and 6,000 words, sorry. And so it's super long. To shorten that, because I'm long-winded and I realize that not everybody wants to read an actual novel for every post that I publish, I have to edit it with AI to shorten, clarify, summarize. So each chapter marker, depending on how long it is, where Descript put in the chapters, I will highlight that text. And we're saying bye to Willow. I will highlight the text in every chapter. I will ask AI to clarify, summarize, rewrite it in a way that reads by itself, that makes sense. So I'm not saying like in this section and then I'm not showing the section. AI will fix a lot of that stuff for me, hopefully keeping the same voice as I write and edit it. So I let AI do the majority of the heavy lifting and then I go back through and edit. So this process by itself can take like 2 to 4 hours, depending on how long it is. And it's a slog, I'm not gonna lie. I do love the writing part, but if I already feel like I've done it for the video, I don't want to do it again for the blog post and vice versa. So that part's kind of a learning curve. Still trying to figure out the workarounds for that. I do have a suggestion, but I'm gonna put that at the end. So as I am editing the transcript in Notion, along with the AI thing, I'm also adding in notes for myself for where to insert a screenshot when I need it, where to insert an affiliate link if it's relevant, where to insert images, examples, whatever it is, even a video clip. If I can link to the specific chapter in the YouTube video and put that lower down, so if they need to see what I'm doing, I can create a GIF really quick with Screen Studio. Like, there's lots of options, but I leave myself notes as I'm editing the transcript so that when I start to copy and paste that back into Squarespace, I know where to put in my image blocks. So I don't have to go hunt those things down. I also go ahead and add all my links in the Notion document. When I have everything edited in the Notion document, it really is a copy and paste into Squarespace. Some of the styling isn't quite perfect when it pastes over. For example, bold will have double asterisks on either side of it sometimes, but for the most part, it works really well. And then I also end up having a backup of the blog post because it lives in Notion first. Just pro tip there. The goal here is to make a blog post that reads by itself so that you don't have to watch the video if you're not into that. And the video stands by itself if you don't want to read the blog post if you're not into that. Make each of them stand on their own. Before I jump into some pro tips here, let's talk about the timeline. I tend to split this up. I never ever do all of these things in one day because that would be exhausting. On the first day, I just record and I take the selfie pics for the video thumbnail. Like today, I'm just filming the video and I'm dropping in the files and I'm taking the selfie pics for the thumbnail because this is how I looked when I filmed the video. So I have to take the pictures on the same day and sometimes I forget and that's why the thumbnail is different. I'm in a different outfit or something. That's what happened when that happens. And that's all I'm doing. On the second day, usually not in a row, a few days apart, I will edit the video and upload it to YouTube. I'll go ahead and put the video file into Script and have it transcribe, copy and paste that into Notion. On the third day, I will edit the transcription in Notion and then put it into Squarespace and schedule the blog post. So that's the 3 different stages for every single post that you read or watch on my blog/YouTube channel. And in total, I would say the filming of the video takes 1 to 2 hours on average. Editing the video, scheduling it to YouTube, optimizing the YouTube post for the video is another 2 to 5-ish hours, depending on the length of the video and how many issues I run into. Interview videos have been really hard for me because it's really difficult to align the audio with the video. Those are 2 separate files. Depending on the platform used, the audio can get off during the interview, and at some point you just have to say to yourself, is this worth spending 50 hours to figure out? Or can it just not be perfect because the content is still good if people just don't watch my mouth as I'm speaking? Anyway, a little bit of a irritation I have with my own capabilities at this point. It has taken me a little longer and a little shorter depending on the length. 15-minute videos and under are the fastest to edit, obviously. Anything over 20 minutes, you're talking 2 to 4 to 5, 6 hours to edit. So it's a lot. On day 3, now that I've started incorporating AI to help me clean up the transcription for the blog post, it only takes 1 to 3 hours, and then another 30 minutes or so to actually write the email blast that goes out with the blog post every week. So if you total all of that up, it can be like 10 to 20 hours, depending on the length of the video and how much trouble I had, if I had to learn a new skill or learn how to do something new in Final Cut or find a template that I liked. It's a lot of effort. So if it takes me like half of my work week every week to get this shit done, why on God's green earth am I doing this? The answer is I love it. I genuinely enjoy creating the content. I genuinely enjoy the act of teaching you how to do something or sharing some bit of knowledge that I feel like maybe I have some unique voice on that you'll be able to relate to. I like it. That's the short answer. The longer answer is I have always chosen to get clients through searchable means. So I will throw up a handy dandy little chart here and show you that in 2023, 43% of my client base in Dubsado, like this is a report that Dubsado generates, 43% of those people came from Google searches. Another 15% came from YouTube. So that is a giant sect of people that find me on the interwebs, and that's because I focus on blog and YouTube content for my marketing strategy. I do not do social media. As you can see from this chart, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram make up a whopping 6% of the leads that find me. So that means that 94% of the other people found me in other ways, and that is exactly how I wanted. I do not want to be on social media marketing. I do not want to be subject to Meta and all of their bullshit. Yeah, that's not where my joy is. So my joy is creating this content the way that I'm creating it. If you're entertaining the idea, just know that is going to take a long time until you get good at it. But I want to tell you, or I want to remind you that I started blogging in 2016. I did not add YouTube to the mix until 2022 and about halfway through that year. So what is that, like 6.5 years? I got really good at writing the posts on a regular schedule. I have been blogging weekly since 2019. So I was very used to the rhythm of creating that content. I was very comfortable with it. I can knock out a 2,000+ word blog post, no problem. So it wasn't until I got to that point that I felt like, okay, now I'm comfortable enough. I can be on camera. I am okay being myself on film-ish enough, right? To add that to the mix and the stuff that comes with it, the editing and the YouTube learning and the optimizing of the YouTube posts and the embedding into the blog post and the cameras and the microphones and all of this shit, right? So I didn't add that for quite a long time. And like I said, the reason why I chose to do that is because I want my audience to find me through searchable means. And for me, that means content that lives on and has a longer shelf life, because YouTube's algorithm is not even remotely the same as anything that's on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest even, because it's a search engine, it's a video search engine. So people find me through videos on YouTube, like the actual search on YouTube, their home actually. So the last video I did last week, something like 40% of the people that found that video found it through their YouTube home. So that's not even the subscriptions. That's just like YouTube serving them new content, even though it's not technically new content, it's just new to that particular user. That's the reason why videos have longer shelf life on YouTube. So they can find me through YouTube searches, they can find me through YouTube algorithms, they can find me through Google searches and whatever Google's algorithm is, and they can also go directly to my website. So that's 3 different places where essentially one piece of content has a reach in 3 different locations. That's the reason why I continue to do this. It takes a lot of time and effort. Eventually, I'll get to a place where I feel comfortable handing this off to someone else. It's not to say that I am better than an actual video editor. I am not a video editor, have never been a video editor. I am not a videographer. I don't know anything about camera settings. I don't know shit about anything in regards to filming and editing video. Everything that you see on here, I have taught myself. So it's not to say that I can do it better than they can. It's honestly a budget thing. So when I get to a point where I'm like, I literally can't do this myself anymore, I'm going to have to pass it on to somebody else, I already know who I'm going to pass it off to. Just be okay with less than perfect when you're getting started. If I look at the first videos I started doing in 2020 now, so cringe. But you know what? We all gotta start somewhere. And so if you're toying with writing your first blog post, or if you're toying with putting up your first YouTube video and you're terrified because you don't know what the hell you're doing, you don't know how to do any of it, you're afraid that everybody's gonna judge you, so what? You cannot get better at doing the thing unless you actually do the thing. So I encourage you to take the first step, do it small, do like a 5-minute video or a 1,000-word blog post. And then once you get comfortable with that, graduate, do a 10-minute video and a 2,000-word blog post. Either or, you don't have to do both. So yeah, I would just jump in a little bit, dip your toes in, get your feet wet, get comfortable with that, and then add something else to the mix once you feel really comfortable that you've mastered the thing that you started with. If you missed last week's video where I sat down with Paige and talked about the fastest way to get to 6 figures, we sort of touched on that in that video, the whole like passive income thing and when to add it based on whether or not you've mastered the thing that you're already doing. The same goes for content creation. If you're doing this for social media, if you're doing this for Pinterest specifically, for YouTube specifically, for blogging specifically, for whatever your marketing strategy is, I would not add on a second one until you've mastered the first one. Whether we're talking about content creation, streams of income, anything, right? You got to get really good at the thing you're doing first, because ultimately you're not very efficient at it until you've been doing it for a while. So if I had started blogging weekly and YouTube in the first year that I started doing freelance work for clients, I would have absolutely burned myself out in a matter of weeks because I was still having to learn these other pieces of running a freelance business while I was also having to learn how to do YouTube video editing and all of this other shit. It's just not possible for one person. And as long as your business is being run with just you wearing all the hats, you've got to focus on specific campfires. There is a recent interview, and if I can find it, I'll try to link it, where Jenna Kutcher interviewed Matthew McConaughey, and he was talking in that interview about how he had a record label company, had no idea, but when he got a call from the management over there and they said, "We need you," he realized that he did not want to drop everything and run to that particular thing. That wasn't the campfire that he cared about. So if that campfire went out, he didn't care so much. And that was at the point where he realized he had too many campfires burning at the same time. And you can't build each of these campfires into a bonfire, his terminology, not mine, if you are spreading yourself that thin. So if you put out several of your campfires, then you can focus on the 1, 2, or 3 campfires and build those into fucking bonfires. And that is what I'm talking about in this little, I don't know, mindset spiel at the end here, because I just want to drive home the fact that just because I'm doing it doesn't mean that you have to pick it up too. It's based on where you want your clients to come from, what you enjoy doing for your marketing strategy. And if this is it, then yeah, go for it. But don't also keep 57 other things as part of your strategy. All right. Getting off my high horse now. So to recap, I record all my ideas in Notion. I film them with QuickTime and my camera and my microphone, whether it's the wireless one or my handy dandy Samson, which I still love, by the way. I edit the video in Final Cut Pro, but I used to do that in Descript, and then I used Descript to transcribe the video. I then put the transcription into Notion. I use Notion's AI to help me turn that into a blog post, but based on the transcript of my video, that shortens it a little bit sometimes. One option I will throw up there really quick before I sign out for the day is something called Blogify. I just found it recently. I'm going to try it with the blog post for this video, so you tell me if it feels any different to you. Supposedly, it is able to rework the video transcription for much closer of a word count to the actual transcription than something like ChatGPT, which is limited to about 800 to 1,000 words. So if, for example, my video is 4,000 to 6,000 words and then ChatGPT transcribes it into less than 1,000, that's really not a high quality post anymore. It's cut out too much of the meat of it. So with Blogify, I'm hoping that I can do the transcription part to transfer into a blog post much faster with this tool. It was like $69 on sale through AppSumo, so go check it out if it feels like a fit for you. But anyway, so I was using AI to help me clean up the transcript in Notion, and then from there I copy and paste into Squarespace, schedule everything out, boom, done, and this is on repeat every fucking week. So again, to remind you, long process, but totally worth it for me. I don't know if you're the same. I'm not going to tell you this is the bee's knees for everybody and everybody needs to do it. It is a lot, not going to lie. But if you enjoy it, then it is fun to do, even though it's a lot. And when it's fun to do, you put the joy into the thing. Hopefully you can feel that on the other side, right? And it doesn't become something that you loathe doing every week. So that's kind of the whole point, right? I don't want to loathe whatever marketing method that I'm using. So anyway, that's all I have. I'm gonna step down from my pedestal now and go do something else for the rest of my afternoon. That's all I have for you in this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.